So about 2 weeks ago, I made a video about a PSA grading return that I got that I had dropped off at the National. And I actually split it up into two parts. One was based on the frustrating part of the order. I had a few cards that I was super frustrated about. And then the other part was based on the rest of that order. And in the frustration video, I did get some comments from some fellow collectors, and I appreciate those. And I also had mentioned in the video that PSA, if you're watching, and I know you probably won't, that I would like to get some answers to some of these questions. Well, flash forward to today, and by today I mean Monday, November 11th, I actually had a phone call with PSA. So backstory on this, I had gone through a group subber, and my group subber had contacted me last week and said, hey, PSA had contacted me about a video that you had done on YouTube, and do you have a link? I said, yep, I actually made 2 videos. So I sent them the links, and basically it said that PSA wanted to get in contact with you. I was like, oh, I was kind of shocked actually, because PSA graded well over 1 million cards last month, and my orders was like 50 some cards. So I told him, yeah, I'll talk to PSA, absolutely, no problem. And so I actually had scheduled a phone call for this morning, and I talked to a PSA rep, and I want to kind of run that conversation down with you and let you know what happened. So I've got kind of a list here I'm going to go by. So first off, my Luca printing plate. I had a Craftsman printing plate that they didn't have any information on. I did get that confirmed that Panini had not updated a checklist with those Craftsman printing plates in it. And if PSA does not have a checklist, they don't grade the card. They're not claiming that it's fake or anything like that. It's just they don't have the checklist information. I said, okay. My group subber had mentioned that to me, and so I was kind of prepared for that. I'm like, okay, I get it. That's fine. We also talked about my Patrick Mahomes 1 of 1 that got the authentic grade. So I had requested a numerical grade, and I had looked on eBay and I had seen some printing plates as recently as 2024 that did have numerical grades. So I really wanted to get to the bottom of that, and I talked to the rep about it. And what the rep told me was really interesting. The rep said that if a printing plate doesn't have stats on the back, like a regular card, they typically don't give it a numeric grade. They just do an authentic only grade. Whether I agree with that or not, it's interesting to get that specific of an answer. Sure enough, I kind of went online and I had a very hard time finding examples of printing plates that didn't have stats on the back that did have a numerical grade. I think I found one that was, they had some stats on there, like, height and weight and all that kind of stuff. Kind of an interesting response. So I thought that some of you watching this video might take some interest in that. I thought it was kind of interesting. Again, this isn't about whether or not I agree with the policies or not. It's receiving transparency from PSA, which I really appreciate. To me, that's a sign of a really good company. It's easy to complain about stuff, and I think I had every right to complain. However, I give PSA a lot of props for contacting me about this and giving me the information. I really do appreciate it. So let's keep going. So that's 2 of the cards. So let's get down to the rip cards. So PSA has basically told me that they think that they made a mistake by not grading the unripped rip card from 07-08. That was the one that I was most upset with. If you didn't watch that video, it's a couple videos back. It's the frustration video. They had basically acknowledged that, look, we think that we made a mistake and we think that that one should have been graded. And everybody makes mistakes. And a company this size, I've never really had any issues with them in the past. I can accept that. Okay, a mistake was made. It's not that big of a deal. They offered to make it right. they'll grade it for free. Again, I appreciate that. I think that's great. I think it's great customer service. I really do appreciate that they're gonna make it right. And so I had already sent that card back to my group subber. I guess my biggest disagreement, so to speak, with the rep was over this last card, and that is the rip card from 07-08. That is the Yao Ming, Bill Walton and David Robinson card. So the rep said that PSA does not grade rip cards. Now, I've done my homework, and I know that in the past, PSA has in fact graded rip cards, specifically from Allen and Ginter. So I was prepared with that knowledge, but the rep was too. And the rep was like, you are correct. There were a couple that had previously been graded. Matter of fact, on the flip, they say ripped open on them. I think there's one on eBay last I checked. I don't know if it's still there or not. But the rep was prepared too. And the rep said, well, we have in the past, but it comes down to whether a card is modified or altered. Because my initial response was, you'll grade a card, or have in the past anyway, that's missing like a third of the card. You've graded rip cards before. To me, they're altered. They're ripped. They're not in their original condition. But the rep had said that they considered them modified because the interior mini card has actually been removed. Because if you know anything about these 07-08 rip cards, there's a card inside of them. The claim is that if you remove that mini card, that card has been modified. So it comes down to, do you think altered and modified are the same thing? I did some homework on it and did some digging on it, and, you can argue that they're not the same thing. And I'm not here to say that, PSA is wrong and all these types of things. Again, I appreciate the transparency. I don't necessarily have to agree with everything. I don't agree with that particular piece, but that doesn't mean that that's not their policy. I mean, if that's their policy, then that's the policy. It is what it is. So that one kind of stung a little because if they make the unripped rip card right, I'll be at 39 out of 40 cards. And the problem is I can't find an unripped copy. So if you, once again, if you happen to have a 2007-08 Topps unripped rip card of Yao Ming, David Robinson, and Bill Walton, please let me know. I would like to purchase it. If you don't want to sell any cards, you prefer trading, I will trade for it. I've had a thread on this on Blowout Cards Forum for a long time. I've been looking for this card. I would like to get an unripped card graded for my set via PSA. In the meantime, I've reached out to SGC, at least a group subber for SGC. I'm trying to get information as to whether or not they will slab a rip card. They have slabbed recent ones of other brands. So once I get confirmation, I'll probably go that route and go SGC. I'm also planning on contacting Beckett. I'm going to probably go with one of those two if PSA will in fact not slab that ripped rip card. So that's where I'm at. Again, I really do appreciate PSA reaching out to me. I appreciate them offering to make it right on the unripped copy. That was the one I was most upset with. Oh, I almost forgot one. I have one other update too. The min size Luka number 210. They did say that they don't believe that card was trimmed. They just think that it came out of the way. It came out that way short right out of the pack. And that I had already heard. I had heard stories about that before, that's happened with other people as well. And so I was satisfied with that. So again, I just wanted to give an update to this video, or give an update regarding my previous video. Excuse me, of being frustrated. I'll let you know when there are final results on this. But in the meantime, that's a summary of our conversation. Overall, like I said, I'm pretty impressed with PSA reaching out and thankful for that. And so, again, if you haven't already, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, that would be great. and I'll catch you in the next one.